Hi everyone, in this video we are going to discuss how to allow developer tools for the users pending some kind of authorization or anything specific that you may want to create that is not the standard code that comes out of Firefly. Let's have a look at that. First of all, what are the developer tools? The developer tools are a set of powerful tools that exist that are intended to help developers. They allow you to access the tables, the programs, and run all sorts of things that you may care about. Now, this is obviously designed to be used for developers, but it's very risky in the hands of users. So let's see what allows us to show that, how it's being shown or not shown, and then let's see how we can customize it according to custom user code. So let's head over to our code and have a look at the application class or application core class in some of the projects and see this line of code. This line of code essentially enables the developer tools. If we set it to false, the user will not have the developer tools. They will not be available and the shortcuts for it will not do anything. Great. But, okay, a few more things. You can see around it there is the if debug settings. The if debug actually means that this code will only run when I'm compiling in debug. So if I change this to true, but change my solution to compile and release, we can see that Visual Studio hides this column or grays it out to indicate that it's not going to be written out, and the user will not have access to the developer tools. Great. Now, how do we change that in runtime? How do we allow it for our users in runtime, depending some kind of custom application logic or rights or whatever? So first of all, let's remove these lines. That means that by default, the developer tools will not be available. Okay, in debug, runtime, or whatever we want to do about it. Next, let's have a look at the application MDI code, view code. And if we scroll down, there's a method here, sorry, Control MO, not the things I wanted. Anyhow, we can see here something called init user-based menus, where different menus are being set according to the enable developer tools flag that now is set obviously to false. Well, what we want to do is actually change the enable developer tools flag and call this menu. So let's do that. Let's add to the application public void allow developer tools, and here we'll say env common developer tools equals to true, and we'll call our MDI dot init user-based menus. Okay, by calling the MDI like this, I'm actually calling that method that we previously seen in our application MDI. If I click it with control, we can see that it's being called. Great, let's run this and see that it runs. So now we don't have these menus. Let's add a menu entry to call it just for the sake of the demo. We'll add an entry here called show developer tools. We go to event, click, show developer tools menu item. For some reason it's not going to that part of my code. Great, we have that entry here. And we'll call application.instance.show.allow developer tools, the method that we've just created a second ago. Great, let's run this and see if it works. So we don't have the developer tools, and when we click it, we do have the developer tools, and we can run them. Great. Now we can call this method anywhere in our code. We can ask the user for some specific password that enables it to see the developer tools or do anything around that that we may want to do. One more thing I want to discuss is also the shortcuts. As most of you know, we also use the Shift F2, Shift F3 shortcuts to access the developer tools. And we can see here that these don't work. Let's review them. Those events, those keyboard handlers, are determined in the application controller base class, which is the class that all applications are inheriting from. Okay, and we can search here for developer tools, and we can see in the constructor, in the load, sorry, of the application controller base, there's an if statement saying that when the application starts, if the developer tools are not enabled, don't even add these handlers. So we can simply remove this if, okay, and these handlers will be added. And now when I run my code, Shift F2, Shift F3 doesn't work, the menu entry doesn't exist, I will click Show Developer Tools, now Shift F2 and Shift F3 works, and we have the developer tools available for us. So let's review the changes that we've done. Let's go to our version control. We made a change to application controller base, okay, to make sure that the handlers are added anyhow, even if the developer tools are not enabled when the application starts, because later they can be available for us. We can have a look at the application class, where we have removed the previous conditions that existed and added the allow developer tools, which set the developer tools to true and refreshes the rights for the menus. And in our application MDI, all we've done was actually call this method. So we recommend that you allow these developer tools with caution, because the users can go and run any program and change any table or whatever. So please restrict it carefully and use these tools to restrict it in a way that makes sense for you. Hope this was all useful. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.